I died choking on my own screams, the garage door slamming shut like the jaws of a trap I'd built myself. My brother's hands, those same hands that had high-fived me at Little League games, pinned me down as the carbon monoxide filled my lungs. His whisper in my ear, "This is for the family. Ivy. You're the weak link." And just like that, the world went black. My last thought, a bitter laugh at how I'd trusted him to fix the car that night. But death isn't the end. It's a goddamn reset button with a vicious twist. I woke up gasping in my old twin bed, the faded poster of Nirvana peeling from the wall like a bad memory. My alarm clock blinking 7:15 a.m. on a crisp September morning in 2018, 7 years before that fateful night in 2025. My heart hammered as I bolted upright, staring at my 18-year-old hands, unscarred and trembling. Holy shit, I was back. Trapped in this body, this life, with every betrayal etched into my soul like a tattoo I couldn't scrub off. The first thing I did was vomit into the wastebasket beside my desk, the bile tasting like exhaust fumes and regret. Mom's voice floated up from the kitchen. "Ivy, honey, breakfast. Your brother's got that big game today." And I froze. Brother. Ethan. The golden boy. The one they'd always praised while I faded into the wallpaper. It hit me then. The full weight of it. I had one shot to unravel the noose he'd tied around my neck. To make him choke on his own lies. Downstairs, the house smelled like pancakes and fresh coffee. The kind of Americana bullshit that hid rot under the syrup. Dad was at the table, buried in the Wall Street Journal. His reading glasses perched on his nose like a crown he didn't deserve. Mom fluttered around, plating food with that forced cheer she wielded like a weapon. And there was Ethan, sprawled in his chair, scrolling his phone, already the king of our little kingdom in suburban Seattle. "Morning. Squirt," he said without looking up, using that nickname that always made me bristle. At 20, he was already the star quarterback at the community college, charming his way through life while I scraped by in high school, invisible except when I brought home straight A's that no one noticed. I forced a smile, my stomach twisting. "Morning, Ethan. Big game." Huh. My voice came out steady, but inside, I was screaming. I remembered this day, the one where he'd accidentally spilled coffee on my laptop during dinner, blaming it on me when Dad flipped out. The first crack in the facade, the start of years of him sabotaging me, stealing my ideas for his entrepreneurial ventures, gaslighting me until I doubted my own sanity. As we ate, Mom launched into a routine. "Ethan, your coach called last night, said you're a natural leader." "We're so proud." Dad nodded absently, folding his paper. "That's my boy. Ivy, you should take notes, maybe join the team or something." I chewed slowly, the fork scraping my plate like nails on a chalkboard. Take notes. As if I hadn't spent nights coding apps in secret, only for Ethan to borrow my code later and pitch it as his own to investors. As if I hadn't covered for him when he crashed Dad's car drunk, taking the blame because family sticks together. The betrayal wasn't just his, it was theirs. Too. This cult of favoritism that turned me into the quiet one, the afterthought. But not this time. I swallowed my bite and said, casually, "Actually, Dad, I've been working on something. An app for tracking college applications, AI-driven. Personalized recommendations." It was the seed of what would become my stolen startup. The one that made him millions while I ended up broke and broken. Ethan's head snapped up, his fork pausing midair. "An app? Like, what?" "For nerds. He laughed. But there was an edge to it. The same predatory glint I'd seen in the garage that night. Mom chuckled nervously.
Oh,
Ivy, that's sweet. But focus on your studies. Ethan's got real opportunities. Real opportunities. The words burned. I remembered the opportunity he dangled in 2025, a fake job at his tech firm, luring me into that garage under the pretense of a late-night debug session. He'd rigged the exhaust, locked the door, and walked away whistling, all to eliminate the loose end after I discovered his embezzlement scheme. Millions siphoned from investors, framed on me as the unstable sister. The police bought it, quiet Ivy, always so withdrawn, must have snapped. I pushed my plate away, the hook of this second life sinking deep.
yeah.
Maybe. But what if it's bigger than football? Ethan? What if it's the next big thing? He smirked, but his eyes narrowed. Game on, brother. This time, I'd play to win. The rest of the day blurred into a haze of high school drudgery, AP Calc, English Lit where we dissected The Great Gatsby, and I saw my family in every shallow character. But my mind was elsewhere, mapping the timeline like a war general. I knew every move, the coffee spill tonight, the stolen code next month, the forged emails that got me suspended from college applications. And the big one, the affair with Mom's best friend that he'd covered up, using my name to throw off suspicion when Dad almost caught wind. By evening, as we gathered for dinner, the tension was already thicker than the pot roast Mom had slaved over. Dad was in rare form, animated about some stock tip, while Ethan regaled them with tales from practice. Coach says I'm MVP material. Scouts from UW are coming next week. Mom's eyes lit up. Our boys going places. Ivy, pass the gravy.
Dear.
I handed it over, my fingers brushing Ethan's as he took the boat. He winked, all brotherly affection, but I felt the chill. This was the night. The spill. As laughter died down, Ethan accidentally knocked his mug, hot coffee arcing toward my backpack on the floor. In the old timeline, I'd yelped, soaked my laptop, and spent hours drying it out while he apologized profusely, too profusely. But I was faster now. I yanked the bag away, coffee splashing harmlessly on the tile. Whips, I said, voice dripping honeyed venom. Careful,
Ethan.
Wouldn't want to ruin anything important. He blinked. Off balance. My bad.
Squirt.
Clumsy me. Dad chuckled. Boys will be boys. Ivy. No harm done. None at all, I replied, meeting Ethan's gaze. I've got backups now. Learned my lesson. Mom steered the conversation back to safer waters. But the seed was planted. That night, in my room, I booted up my ancient Dell, thank God it still worked, and started encrypting files, setting up anonymous email drops. Step 1. Document everything.
Screenshots.
Timestamps. The works. If he wanted to steal, I'd make sure the world knew who the real thief was. Weeks turned into a meticulous grind. I played the part, the dutiful daughter, helping with Ethan's projects, feeding him just enough code to hook him without giving away the farm.
He bit
hard, pitching my app idea to a local accelerator as his own. Ivy helped brainstorm, he'd say modestly, like I was the intern. But behind the scenes, I was building an arsenal. Hired a PI through a burner account, cheap, but effective. Turns out, Ethan's leadership extended to doping his teammates, Small-time stuff, but enough to tarnish that golden halo. And the affair? Photos timestamped, ready to drop like bombs. Thanksgiving loomed like a guillotine. The family gathering at Grandma's old Victorian in Ballard. The one with the creaky porch and secrets buried in the attic. Grandma, sharp as a tack at 82, had always seen through the bullshit. In the old life, she'd tried to warn me, pulling me aside during dinners. That boy's got devil in his eyes. Ivy. Watch your back. But I'd laughed it off, loyal to a fault. This time, as we piled into the SUV for the drive across the floating bridge, I sat shotgun, Ethan in the back blasting his playlist. Mom prattled about pie recipes, Dad grumbled about traffic. I stared at the Olympics rising in the distance, steeling myself. Tonight, I'd test the waters, drop a hint about the doping. See if Grandma picked up the scent. The house was a Norman Rockwell fever dream. Turkey roasting, aunts gossiping in the kitchen, cousins chasing the dog. But under it all, the favoritism festered. At the long oak table, laden with crystal and silver, Dad raised his glass. To Ethan, our pride and joy. Off to UW on a full ride. Cheers echoed. Ethan beamed, soaking it up. I sat at the far end, the quiet one, fork tracing patterns in my mashed potatoes.
Grandma,
across from me,
caught my eye.
Her chair was empty beside Ethan. No, she'd chosen me this time, shuffling over with a pat on my hand. Room for an old lady with a thinker? In the old timeline, she'd sat with him, praising his stories.
But now?
Her choice sent a ripple. Ethan's smile faltered for a split second. As plates cleared, the real dinner began, the verbal feast where Mom dissected my potential. Ivy's so smart, but she needs to get out more. Ethan, maybe introduce her to some friends. He leaned back, all gracious. Sure, sis. Party next weekend. I smiled thinly. Thanks, but I've got plans. Working on that app, got a meeting with a mentor. Dad perked up. Mentor? From where? Online accelerator. Independent. I didn't mention it was the same one Ethan was courting, or that I'd anonymously tipped them off about his inspirations. Grandma's eyes twinkled. Good for you,
girl.
Ambition's a fire. Don't let anyone snuff it. She glanced at Ethan, who shifted uncomfortably. Later, as the menfolk cleared the table, a rare dad concession, Grandma pulled me into the sunroom, the one overlooking the sound. Fog rolled in like a shroud. Spill it, Ivy. You're carrying weight heavier than that bird we just ate. I hesitated. Then let it pour, the old life's poison seeping out in whispers. Not all of it. Just enough, Ethan's borrowings, the way the family pedestal blinded them. She listened, nodding, her veined hand on mine. Blood's thicker than water, but it don't mean it's clean. I've seen it before, your granddad's brother. Same snake. Promise me you'll fight smart. I will, I vowed, the weight lifting just a fraction. For the first time, I wasn't alone. But Ethan was watching from the doorway, arms crossed, that smirk gone cold. He knew something shifted.
Good.
Let him sweat. Winter clamped down on Seattle like a vice. Gray skies mirroring the storm brewing in my chest. Christmas came and went in a blur of tinsel and tension, Ethan's new gadget under the tree, bought with my pilfered code royalties. Though no one knew. Mom's passive-aggressive gifts of self-help books on assertiveness. I played along, But my real presents were digital, encrypted drives full of evidence, a shadow LinkedIn profile under a pseudonym, connections to journalists who ate corporate fraud for breakfast. By January, Ethan's accelerator pitch was gaining steam. He'd refined my app into something called Team Track, targeted at sports teams. Of course, with my AI core buried under his flashy UI. The meeting was set for Valentine's Day at a swanky co-working space in Belltown, and he'd rope me in as support staff. Moral support.
Squirt.
Family. Right?
Family.
The word tasted like arsenic. I agreed. Of course. Slipping a USB into my purse loaded with the original code. Timestamps glaring like accusatory eyes. The space was all exposed brick and artisanal coffee. The kind of hipster haven where dreams went to die or get funded. Ethan strode in like he owned it. Schmoozing the panel. 2 VCs in tailored suits. A tech bro with a man bun. I hovered in the corner, notebook in hand, the quiet observer. Ladies and gents, Ethan boomed, clicking through slides that were mine, down to the color scheme. Team Track isn't just an app, it's a revolution. Real-time analytics, predictive scouting. I built this from the ground up, drawing on my athlete's intuition. Bullshit. I'd built it in stolen hours, debugging while he partied. The lead VC, a sharp-eyed woman named Carla, leaned forward. Impressive prototype. What's the IP history? Any co-founders? Ethan's pause was a heartbeat too long. Solo venture. But my sisters helped with testing. He nodded at me, all gracious. Carla's gaze flicked my way. Ivy. Right? Care to elaborate? This was the fork in the road, the decision that could shatter everything. In the old life, I'd stayed silent, loyal, doormat. Now, my pulse thundered. Controversial? Hell yes. Exposing him here meant torching bridges, maybe even family ties forever. But the garage loomed in my mind, his hands on my throat. I stood, voice steady as Seattle rain. Actually, the core AI was my design. Original code from last fall. Here's the repo logs. I slotted the USB into the projector. Files blooming on screen. My commits. His forks. The blatant copy-paste. The room went tomb silent. Ethan's face drained of color. Ivy. What the? Save it. I cut him off. Turning to Carla. He's talented at presentation. Less so at attribution. Man bun coughed.
This
complicates things. Ethan lunged for the USB, but security, called by a frantic intern, hauled him back. Sis, you're ruining everything. For what? Jealousy. Jealousy. The word hung like smoke. As they escorted him out, Mom's text blew up my phone. What happened? Ethan says you're lying.
Call home now.
I didn't. Instead, I sat with Carla over coffee, spilling more, not just the app, but patterns. The doping leads from my PI. Anonymous tips I'd planted. He's charismatic, I said, but check his ethics. She nodded, intrigued. Risky move, Ivy. But bold. We like bold. Bold. It felt like freefall. That night, back in my room, Dad's voice thundered from downstairs, yelling into the phone at Ethan, then at me when I descended. What the hell were you thinking? Sabotaging your brother? He's devastated. Devastated. As if I hadn't been shattered. Mom hovered, tears streaming. Ivy, we raised you better. Family first. Family first, I echoed, the irony bitter. Tell that to the investors he defrauded in my name. Or the coach he framed for the steroids. Dad's face purpled. Lies. Ethan's a good boy. Good boys don't murder their sisters, I whispered, the words slipping out before I could stop them. The room froze. In my rage, I'd cracked the future open. Just a sliver. What did you say? Mom gasped. I backpedaled, heart slamming. Figuratively. He's killing my dreams. But the seed was sown, doubt. Tiny and insidious. Ethan returned the next day, eyes red-rimmed, playing the victim card masterfully. Ivy, I don't know why you're doing this. I love you. He hugged me, the embrace of ice. His whisper hot against my ear. You have no idea what you've started. I pulled back, smiling.
Oh.
I do. The fallout rippled. The accelerator blackballed him. But whispers spread, Ethan's charm soured by scandal. He pivoted to consulting, but I knew better. The embezzlement was next on his horizon. Siphoning Dad's retirement fund through fake startups. Grandma called that week. Her voice a lifeline. Stirred the pot. Good. Now watch for the boil over. She was right. By spring, Ethan was spiraling, parties turning sloppy. A DUI that Dad buried with a lawyer. I documented it all, feeding snippets to a tech blogger who'd taken my bait. The article dropped in May, Golden Boy or Grifter. Inside the family feud rocking Seattle tech. Mom confronted me in the kitchen. Apron askew. This is your doing? Humiliating us. Not humiliating, I said, packing a lunch for my new internship at a real firm. Truth-telling. You're destroying him, she wailed. And he destroyed me. I shot back. The garage flashing cold concrete. His silhouette in the door. Figuratively.
Mom.
But keep pushing. And it'll get literal. She recoiled. And for a moment, I saw it. The crack in her denial. But Ethan? He doubled down. Hacking my email one night, sloppy. Traceable. Threats poured in, back off. Or everyone knows your secrets. My secrets. The ones he'd planted, fake nudes from high school. Shoplifting charges I'd never committed. In the old life, they'd sealed my fate, painting me as unstable. But I'd anticipated. Backups. Traces leading straight to him. I hit reply all to his inner circle. Care to explain this IP address? The counterstrike landed. His friends ghosted. A restraining order followed. Dad brokered a tense family therapy session in June. The counselor's office stuffy, with forced civility. Ethan feels betrayed. The shrink droned, nodding at him.
Betrayed.
I almost laughed. And I feel erased. Years of it, stolen credit. Gaslighting. It's a pattern. Ethan leaned forward, eyes pleading. I'm sorry. Okay? I was wrong. Let's move on. The apology was rehearsed. Hollow. But Mom bought it, squeezing his hand. See, Ivy? Forgiveness. Forgiveness.
The word choked me.
In therapy's sanctum. I made my most controversial call yet. I walked out. Not until he confesses everything. The app. The drugs. The money he's hiding. Dad exploded.
Out.
After we drove you here? Drive yourself next time, I said, slamming the door. Outside. Rain slicked the streets. I called Grandma from a payphone. Voice breaking. They're choosing him. Again. Choose yourself. Child, she rasped. That's the real revenge. Summer scorched in. My internship blooming into a junior dev role, legit. Paying.
Mine.
Ethan's empire crumbled. The blogger's follow-up exposed the DUI cover-up. Investors pulled out. He cornered me one August night in the driveway, reeking of whiskey. You think you're winning? Dad's cutting you off. College? Forget it. The threat landed. But I was armored.
Try it.
I've got recordings. His fist clenched echo of the garage, but he backed off, snarling. Bitch. The word lingered as I slipped inside, bolting the door. September dawned. My 19th birthday unmarked. But I celebrated alone, toasting with cheap wine to the woman emerging from the ashes. Then, the call came, Grandma. Hospitalized. Stroke. As I raced to Swedish medical, the irony bit her warning about snakes,
now felled by time.
In her room, tubes snaking like accusations. She gripped my hand. Finish it.
Ivy.
For us quiet ones. I will, I promised. As monitors beeped a dirge. Ethan arrived late, playing the concerned grandson. But I saw the calculation: inheritance. Her will leaving me the house. His eyes on the papers by her bed confirmed it. She passed at dawn. The sound of silver ribbon outside. Funeral was a circus. Relatives fawning over Ethan. The Rock. I stood apart. Eulogy burning in my throat. Unspoken. Afterward, at the reading, the lawyer cleared his throat. To Ivy, the Victorian, full ownership. To Ethan, a trust, contingent on restitution to affected parties. Ethan's face twisted. What the? She hated me.
She saw you, I said softly.
Like I do. War declared. Fall leaves turned the Victorians' yard to fire. A fitting pyre for the life I was torching. I moved in weeks after the funeral. Boxes of codebooks and grief unpacked amid creaky floors and ghosts. Grandma's letters, tucked in the attic, became my Bible, yellowed pages detailing her own betrayals. A brother who'd swindled the family farm in the 60s. Quiet ones endure, she wrote. But we can roar. Ethan's roar came via lawsuit, claiming undue influence. Elder abuse. Dad fronted the fees. Of course. Their united front a wall of denial. Mom's voicemails pleaded. Come home.
Ivy.
This divides us. Division. That's what I'd craved. Truth's scalpel carving out the rot. I countersued, subpoenaing bank records. The PI's dossier now public fodder. The hearing in October was a media circus, local news sniffing scandal. Tech Air versus Sister, Poison Apple. In the marble courthouse, Ethan took the stand first. All polished remorse. Ivy's brilliant, but unstable. The app? Collaboration gone wrong. I never meant harm. The judge. A no-nonsense Latina with tired eyes. Arched a brow. Mr.
Hargrove.
Collaboration implies credit. Your emails suggest otherwise. My lawyer, pro bono from a women's advocacy group, laid it bare. Timestamps. Witnesses from the accelerator. Ethan's cross-examination cracked him, sweat beaded as he stammered about miscommunications. Then my turn. Under oath. I faced the family in the gallery, Dad stone-faced, Mom dabbing tears. It started small, I said, voice echoing. Stolen ideas. Blamed accidents. But it escalated.
Threats.
And, in the end, I paused. The garage a shadow. Could I say it? The future. Impossible to prove. But felt in my bones. The lawyer squeezed my arm. Stick to facts. But facts were my weapon. He planned to frame me for fraud.
Milho.
I know because I found the ledgers hidden in his cloud. Under my name. Gasps rippled. Ethan bolted up.
Lies.
She's delusional. Bailiff, the judge snapped.
Contempt.
As I stepped down, Mom rushed the aisle, sobbing. Why, Ivy, we loved you both. Loved the idea of me, I whispered. Not the truth. The ruling favored me. House secured. Ethan ordered to repay $50,000 in borrowed funds. But the real blow? Dad's heart attack that night. Stress-induced.
They said.
In the ICU. He wheezed apologies through oxygen masks. Didn't see.
Sorry.
Kiddo. I held his hand. The prodigal returning. See me now.
Dad.
That's enough. Ethan vanished post-ruling. Holed up in a Fleabag motel per the PI. November rains hammered as I fortified the house. Cameras. Locks. A concealed carry permit that felt like overkill, but tasted like survival. Controversial? Arming against family? In America's gun-soaked psyche. It was Tuesday. But for me, it was the line crossed, no more victim. Thanksgiving echoed hollow without Grandma. The table set for one. I ate alone, plotting the endgame. The twist I'd buried deep. Ethan's final play in the old life wasn't just murder, it was total erasure. He'd forged a suicide note, citing my depression, backed by planted psych records.
Clean getaway.
This time, I'd flipped the script. Anonymous post to a dark web forum, hackers for hire. Ethical ones. Cost me savings, but they traced his digital ghosts. Offshore accounts. The embezzlement blueprint targeting not just dad, but aunts, cousins. A family Ponzi, with me as the fall guy. I leaked it to the feds via tip line, then waited. Black Friday. Ethan showed, banging on the door at midnight. Soaked and wild-eyed. Ivy, open up. We need to talk. Cameras rolled as I cracked the door. Chain latched. Talk, or finish the job. His laugh was manic. Job? That garage bullshit? You think I? He stopped, eyes widening. Realization dawned. I'd said too much. Again. Carbon monoxide, I said flatly. You locked me in. Walked away. But I'm here.
Ethan.
And you're done. Panic fractured his mask. It was mercy. You were gonna ruin us, expose the doping, the affair, everything. Dad's money, Mom's reputation, affair. I feigned shock. Though I knew his fling with Aunt Lisa, covered by blaming me for seducing her husband. Twisted genius. He lunged, chain rattling. Let me in, or I swear. Sirens wailed, my silent alarm, tripped by the frenzy. Cops swarmed, cuffing him as he spat venom. She's crazy, framing me. But the feds arrived at dawn, warrants waving like flags. Raids uncovered it all. Ledgers. The forged note draft on his laptop, dated 2025. A chilling anachronism they'd chalk up to premeditation. Twist. In his desperation, he'd written it early, practicing the lie. Interrogation footage leaked weeks later, Ethan crumbling, confessing in sobs. I had to. She knew too much. Family. First, Mom visited me in December. The house strung with lights I hadn't bothered to hang. He's pleading guilty. 10 years. Minimum. Relief warred with sorrow.
And you?
Believe me now. She nodded. Broken. I chose wrong. Every time. We hugged.
Tentative.
The first real one in years. Dad recovered, selling the old house to fund therapy for all of us. Controversial decisions lingered. I testified at sentencing. Eyes locked on Ethan's as the gavel fell. Not for hate, I said later, to reporters circling like vultures. For justice. Quiet ones deserve voices. Spring 2019 bloomed. My app, reborn as Echo Track, launched to acclaim. Carlo invested. TED Talk offers trickled in. The family mended. Fractured but honest. Dinners now equal. Praises shared. Mom sat with me at Easter, passing the ham. Proud of you, Ivy. I smiled. Scars fading. But in quiet nights, the garage echoed a reminder. Second chances aren't gifts, they're gauntlets. Twists echo, months later. A letter from prison. Ethan scrawl, you win. But was it worth it? The monster you made me? I burned it in the fireplace. Ashes swirling like second lives. Worth it? Hell yes. For the girl who'd died screaming, and the woman who'd risen roaring. In the end, reckoning wasn't destruction, it was rebirth. And damn, it felt American, messy, fierce, unapologetic.